Alright, everyone, welcome back to the second half of this final. Wasn't that a really exciting first two games? The first game was over really, really quick, and some crimes happened from what I've heard. I tuned in for the second one. That was really fun. But yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Tramy just completely running away with it right now. Like up 75,000 on every other player right now. Obviously, it's not the end of the tournament. There's still, two more rounds left, so plenty of time to make it up here.
Exactly. What happened to Tremy in these first two games could easily happen to someone else in the next two. We are only halfway through, but that is a huge lead. That is a huge lead. I usually have to cheer for an underdog, but this time I guess there's three underdogs.
Yeah, absolutely. Martin's still in a little bit better position than everyone else. But Zhiyu and Conor, unfortunately, is not doing great. Conor being the reigning champion, definitely going to try to find something to get going here to be able to reclaim that position.
Yeah, exactly. So while they're still getting seeded for their third game, I suppose I should introduce myself. I'm Chiral. I host a Euro time zone league running mostly EMA rules on the Zheng Discord server. Season 4 finished. Season 5 is going to start in January. I don't know if I can tempt people from Ireland to join my league, but come join me. I've also had the privilege to cast live events at World Riichi on YouTube and do variety stuff on my Twitch channel at It's Me Chiral. Please introduce yourself as well.
So I'm Crow77. You probably know me from YouTube. I do a little bit on Twitch, but mostly deal with strategy videos, usually shorter form, some Paifu, different things like that on YouTube. So if you want to catch that, it's youtube.com/crow_77.
Yeah, I've watched your videos. I need to subscribe to your channel. I don't know why I haven't done that yet.
What? You haven't subscribed?
I haven't done that. I've watched your videos. I need to do that.
Tell you what, we don't need to worry about the Irish Riichi Championship. Go subscribe right now, and we'll be good to go. Otherwise, I can't talk to you anymore.
Okay, that's fine. I'll fix that right this second.
All right, but we'll be live in just a couple minutes here. So if you're just joining in, hang tight, and we will be getting started very, very shortly. Thanks, everyone, for showing up a little bit early. This was scheduled to be a break, but luckily the last Hanshan ended a little bit early. So they're moving at a pretty good clip here and trying to really go after, a little bit pace of play, nice professional play. But even with that, it is a 90+1 timer. So what that means is you have 90 minutes to play the round and then one additional hand after the timer's done. So pretty lenient as far as tournament rules go. But definitely something to still consider. If someone's having a long dealer round, you might not get a second dealer round.
Yeah, exactly. So, and yeah, we can chat now. It's fine. We can chat. Okay. I have solved the issue. But yeah,
Great
honestly,
to hear.
I'm pretty used to seeing, I think most events run 70+1, so an extra 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's 70+1. In America over here, it's actually getting more common to do 70+0 in order to try to keep tournaments on time more. But we also have things that are doing like 5 rounds a day for 2 days straight, so that can be a little bit strenuous as well.
That's very fair. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how this worked. Honestly, last year, I got to watch Conor win. Did you cast this last year?
No, I didn't, unfortunately. Since I live, a pretty long ways away from Ireland, I didn't even make it to the Irish Open last year. Made it 2 years ago, made it this year, but missed last year. Unfortunately, can't quite swing that trip every year yet.
Honestly, very fair. Yeah, I guess with my connection to Ireland, I'm 2 generations removed from you guys over there on my mum's side. But please adopt me for at least today. Can I be an honorary Irish person? But yes.
A lot closer than I am. Closest I can claim is German.
Ah, very, very cool. Okay.
So with the players coming in here, so 3 of these players are the top ranked from this season. Conor, being the reigning champion, was automatically qualified in order to try to defend the title here. So obviously very high ranked players over in Ireland here. So I'm excited to see some really strong mahjong here again.
ASM mahjong when? I do think if we are going to do that, we need to make that a portmanteau. But yeah, honestly, I'm looking forward to seeing it. Yeah, exactly. Yes, as you were saying, Conor, being the defending champion, did get here for free. Currently in last place, but not by too much. We could see a comeback from anybody here. We have an update from the organisers. The last player is here. We'll be ready to start the game any time now.
Yep. And for those of you that might be new to tournaments or that sort of thing, if you're used to playing online, the way that these scores go, your total score at the end of the game has 30,000 subtracted to it. That's for your starting points. And then the winning bonus is 15,000 points. Second place is 5,000. And then the reverse for third and fourth, -5 and -15. So that extra UMA, they call it, is really helpful for catching up with the big gaps like this. And it looks like we are in the game here. So timer's just about to start, players waiting, and we are going to be good to go.
Oh dang, that moment when I'm like, oh yes, I've got to start the timer. Right, yes, let's fix that right now.
All right, and dice are rolling. It looks like we have Martin in the east seat, Tramy starting in south, Zhiyu in west, and Conor in the north position.
Okay, the timer is going. Thank you for that. And our first Dora
It looks like Dora this time will be the Forso. And let's take a look at this hand here.
There we go. My first time at playing around properly with the lovely little overlay that's been worked on by this little bit of a team. And here we go.
Right, so decent starting hand here for Martin. Tramy, I actually really like hers. It looks like it's going to be a Tanyao type of hand. Zhiyu a little bit rough around the edges, but overall pretty advanced shapes. And Conor probably the worst starting hand of the bunch here, but does have that pair of Dora.
Yeah, exactly as you say, we're going to be seeing a nice little switch to that all simples there. Hopefully, keeping the ability to call. Having the 2-4-6 is going to be definitely very useful to make that happen.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think Conor's the one who really wants to be pushing this hand hard, though. It's going to be real interesting to see what he ends up going for to try to make use of that Paradora there, because in EMA rules, again, if you're only familiar with online, there's no red fives. So the only Dora you get are the Dora that are revealed, and then any Khan or Uradora later. So it's a lot harder to make really expensive hands, especially to catch up with the big lead that we saw with Tramy here. So making use of that Dora pair, those hands where you do start with that many Dora, is very, very important.
Yes, exactly. Well, looking at Conor's hand, we've got a lot of the... It's the kind of hand you really want to go for all simples with, but it's just not quite the... The rest of the hand doesn't quite fit the idea there. But...
Yeah, meanwhile, Tramy steamrolling ahead. Looks like very advanced for Tanyao. Zhiyu in a decent shape. Looks like it's probably going to be a Riichi if Tempai gets hit at this point. Conor is connecting some shapes, but again, not the greatest shapes right now.
Yeah, if I was you, I'd be thinking... Maybe hoping to draw in the 3 and 4 of darts, get the 2-4 mixed triple sequence. Sorry, the 3 and 4 of bamboo. My apologies, but the 8 there does sort of solidify this hand as just Pinfu. I like the keep though of that too, just in case that mixed triple sequence is available.
Yeah, absolutely. Always have to keep an eye out for those for sure. Tramy very, very close to Tempai. That is the... Oh no, sorry, Ishan 10 now.
Yes. But a really wide Ishanten, especially if we get the 7 of pin weight first. We do see 2 of them right here in Zhiyu's hand.
Yeah, definitely going to be something she's looking to Chi, I think, to probably shut down this hand, try to keep scores low. When you're in this kind of position, being 71,000 points up, it is very important to try to really just end the series. If you can play aggressively, get lots of quick hands, it's not necessarily about building your score, it's about denying everyone else's theirs. So that's probably what she's going to be looking for here.
Yeah. The one concern I would be having is, even though and I was just mentioned Sandshock, Tramy could be going for a 6, 7, 8 mixture sequence too, but there's only 1 7 of dots left, so that 6, 8 shape is probably going to be a weight in this hand, slowing it down.
Yeah, very likely.
As far as they can see, there's 3 left, right? But we unfortunately have the power of knowledge.
Yeah, obviously. Unfortunately, as I'm sure watching, the players cannot see each other's hands. So unless they have X-ray vision, which would be a very fantastic superpower to have for Riichi Mahjong. All right, Now, there is some opportunity here, and actually with a draw like that, so Tramy could choose to discard the 8 pin from this and try to get a pawn out on the 6 or 7, or possibly even connect it for a run. So, hard decision here. She's definitely thinking on it a bit. We'll see what she ends up with.
Chooses
Ends
instead.
up cutting Formon.
That's interesting. Let's have a little look around the rest of the table. We don't see too many upper bamboo tiles played. So I guess it's somewhat maybe of a danger zone. But no one is showing a flush with their discards, as far as I can see.
Good pickup for Conor there. Unfortunately, we can see 3 of the 3 pin right here, and they're going to be locked into Martin's hand as Martin declares a Riichi here. Waiting on the 6-9, looks for just like Pinfu Riichi at this point. But obviously there's always the Ura chance, and as dealer, you're still definitely going to take this every time.
Yeah, exactly so. Pinfu is just a really good hand to go for, especially when you are the first person in Tempai, especially when you're the dealer, so...
Yeah, any sort of Riichi will turn any dealer hand into a threat, pretty much. So all the players definitely going to be playing pretty defensively, especially this early on, I think, to try not to deal in here.
And yeah, this is definitely... The one thing I've got to be thinking about at this point in the set, right, is you've got to be looking about your score and how you're going to be finding a way to get your win condition. As dealer,
Absolutely.
I think honestly the most important thing is defending your lead, but I could see a lot of aggression from Zhiyu and Conor. I think Tramy's not going to be taking any risks.
Well, that 8 pin, that's not as odd as a safe tile. My mistake. Oh, and we actually see a Oikake reach from Zhiyu here. Hand isn't fully sorted. I couldn't read quite that fast.
Pinfu all inside, waiting on 3-6 pin, I believe.
Thank you very much. That sounds about right here. But we see the 9 come out. Okay, so 9 for Reach Pinfu, and that is going to be a 2,900 win for Martin. Plus a Riichi stick, obviously.
Okay. My first time doing scores. Who dealt in, sorry?
Oh, no worries. So that was, I believe, Conor that dealt in here.
Okie dokie.
All right, second hand underway. So Martin on East 1-1 now. So 1 Homba revealing another very usable Dora, the 5-mon here. As dealer, this is always the sort of thing you like to see this early in the game. Oh, especially with a pair of the East Wind there. Wow, this is a pretty advanced hand, actually. So pair of East Wind, set of the 1 pin, 6, 7, 8 pin as well. So lots of completed shapes or close to completed shapes in Martin's hand already. This could be a very, very quick one, especially if you can pawn that East. Conor also with a pretty decent starting hand, a couple more pairs than you would like to see, but overall the unmelted tiles are very close to the center, which makes them a lot easier to use. Here's another look at Martin's hand here. Oh wow, and picks up the extra East as well. That is fantastic. So really, really, really wide Tempai here, or Ishan 10 here. Waiting on pretty much any paired tile, I believe. The head isn't locked in just yet.
Exactly so. But yeah, the East being really, really exciting. Obviously, we got 2 hand from it, right? Martin being the dealer, and we're in the East round. That's the card that you love to see. That's a huge draw, though. I was getting a little bit excited, thinking
that 9-8.
Maybe see 3 concealed triplets or something particularly exciting like that. But honestly, just making a sequence, getting to Tempai a little bit faster, nothing wrong with that at all.
Yeah, another good draw here from Martin as well. That 6 pin will allow a 6-9 wait if the 8 is filled on the 7-9 mon. So pretty good advancement here, just moving the hand right along. Conor still struggling a little bit, but overall, Ishan 10.
Not a useful tile, sadly. Although actually, maybe it would have been worth keeping the 7 of bamboo over the 2 of bamboo, just because of the, and I say this all the time. I'm sorry, I must be a broken record, but sand shocking. What if you drew a sequence and then cut the triplet down to a pair?
Yep, absolutely, definitely a thing you always want to be watching out for, and very, very easy to miss, especially in these high pressure matches. Oh, interesting draw. So this 8-pin, it actually allows a bit more acceptance. So now you can draw the 5-8 pin as well. But you can also get the Sanshoku if you draw the 7, or sorry, not Sanshoku. You have me on Sanshoku now. The Ipeiko if you draw a 7-pin.
But if we triple up either the 6 or the 8-pin, we end up getting 3 Kisor triplets, which is also a very exciting 2-hand upgrade. Although, this will be Tenpai. Riichi only.
It looks like we're going to see the Riichi here. We still take a Riichi only here. Riichi only good weight is completely fine.
Exactly.
So the Riichi is declared.
And we're seeing a cool... No, we're not seeing a cool. Okay, good. So North is
Martin
perfectly
going to
safe.
be taking a little bit of time here, but the safe tile there is very, very nice. Tramy in an interesting spot, choosing the 7-pin for the discard. So it looks like Tramy's going to shut down her hand here.
Could
obviously,
call this
we can
for
see
Tenpai. But have to cut the 6 to make that happen, and it is going to be passed. Speaking of,
right.
Not the 6 I was
So
talking
Martin's,
about.
Martin's not afraid at all, continuing to push on this hand. It looks like there's not really going to be any stopping him, because I think with this kind of hand, with this overall point difference, you just have to push if you can.
Yeah, exactly. Just getting first isn't quite good enough. You need a pretty solid first place here. And that is going to be Tenpai.
Yep, absolutely. I love this discard here. So waiting on the 6-9 as opposed to the 5-8. So it is going to push, and let's see what we can find. There's actually none of them in discards yet, I believe.
Yeah, exactly.
But obviously, as spectators, we can see a couple in hand here.
I don't particularly see anyone discarding them yet, but obviously with a player in Reach, they're not going to have a choice. We'll see. That's actually just been going 1-2.
Yeah, and this 8-pin could become a 1 chance pretty quickly here, too. So it'll kind of depend on discard patterns and what players can find to continue to fold.
Okay, so that's...
There's one of the 6 pins.
I believe we see 6 of the 8 tiles that deal into the 6-9 pin, but for now everyone's
I thought that was going to be the 9 pin right there for a second. So, yeah, this is the one shot I was talking about here. So we see 3 of the 8 pins on the board right now. So Martin having the last one in hand, it's not super likely that it would deal into him. But obviously from our perspective, we know that it does.
Exactly. I do like this go from Tramy. Like, honestly, we're fighting for Tenpai payments here, but yeah, I think it's really worth it, right? It's worth trying to stay in the game for as long as you possibly can.
Yeah, depending on how safe the discards are.
Yes.
If you encounter something that's just like super dangerous, you still just have to give it up, I think. But Zhiyu thinking pretty hard here. I think it's just the west wind here. You can try to hedge and delay the real decision as long as you can, and that is what we see.
Yep, exactly. But yeah, I do think Tenpai payments are definitely something worth fighting for, especially in rule sets like this where we don't have the red 5s. Because sometimes if you're the only person Tenpai, that's effectively 4,000 points than all the other players. That's a significant hand.
Looks like we had a sumo here.
Hang on, yeah, what?
Yeah, unfortunately, can't quite see the hand from this angle. Yeah, it is a sumo.
Was that the reach only from Conor, or was that?
Yes, that is Conor's hand. Unfortunately, I can't see the Ura as well. I'm not sure on the point value for that. But it looked like it was 600 points paid over from Tramy. So that'd be well, it's only one. No, something's not making sense. We might have to get something from the spectators here to see exactly what happened there. But in that, either way, moving on here, we will be moving on to Tramy's deal. So Tramy rolling, and we are starting the next hand here.
Just asking.
All right, Tramy opening up a pretty good one here. So lots of really good inside shapes. The only thing, like the blemish on the hand, is the pair of souths. Not really what you want to see when the rest of your hand's in this shape. but at the same time, it is still a pair. So you can go for speed, or you can try to cut these souths early. And honestly, I would consider that with this. But Tramy's seeing the redundancy with the 3-6, so deciding to discard the 3 first.
Okay, so it was Conor who won. I think it was just reach only, I believe. I could be wrong.
Yeah, so Riichi Sumo, it would be. With one Homba.
Okay.
So that'd be 500, 1,000 plus 100 each.
Yep.
Right, we have a slight pause from the players here. Still waiting on the Dora reveal, I believe. I don't think we've seen it yet for this hand.
The Dora will be the 2-pin. I'm just updating it as we speak.
No worries. All right, so looking at these hands here, Martin with an Anko of the 7, so already in a pair of the whites. So option 2, really put some pressure on if he can palm the white dragon here. From there, not too much going on. No one has a super exciting hand, no lots of Dora or anything like that. Just really Martin sitting with the 1 Dora.
Yeah, it's always fun when you got a single Dora, right? You've got to make a decision. Am I willing to keep it forever and hope I draw something? I think with the 2, it's quite likely you're going to find a way to use it. You're going to be able to find a way to use it, so I think it's perfectly fine to keep. Especially when you've got the ability to call if things go a little bit wrong. So I would be pretty excited about that 2-pin.
Absolutely. And Tramy looks like she's going for the speed route. So holding on to that pair of south, not really going for the Tanya or anything. Probably just going to try for a Riichi Pinfu if possible.
Zhiyu, who could use a Dora, definitely has space to put it in the hand, but hasn't quite shown up. Otherwise, just building up a normal reach only, it looks like. This is very interesting for Tramy, though, right? You've got a lot of pairs, a triplet hiding away.
Ooh. So she's got some designs on bigger things going on. Looks like she's angling for the Toy or possibly even the Suanko. A little bit too early to be calling that one just yet, but we'll see how this hand develops.
Yes. Far too early. But either way, Conor is now 1 away from their own Tempai. Looking like a 8-pin wait, which is going to be a bit sad to see if that's how we end up waiting on it, but either way, 1 away is 1 away.
Absolutely. Another option that Tramy has here, she still has the 4 mon in hand, so if she draws something like the 3 or the 5 mon to connect to that, she could discard the souths. So that is still a route to the Tanyao hand as well.
Yeah, very true.
Zhiyu, another not ideal draw, is able to cut the penchant. Conor considers calling it for just a moment before drawing here. But instead going to be keeping close, looking for that Riichi. All right, Tramy, another decent draw here. Not quite Tempai, but does advance the possible weights here a little bit. Yes, with the 4-mon discard here.
Yeah, I like that.
The nice thing with this too is it also sets up an earlier Suji trap, and typically tiles that are discarded earlier, farther away from a Riichi, are going to be safer for Suji, just because of shapes like 2, 4, 6 discarding a 6 or something like that. You're forced to do that later on, but here it's going to be really hard to read that the Suji isn't safe.
Exactly. Yep. 1 away now for Martin. We have a decision to make. Do we cut Dora? We do. Okay.
Ooh, yeah. And I think that makes sense here. Probably just going to try to shut down the hand given the opportunity. So I'd expect to see a pawn of the white dragon if there's any available one that comes up here. But so far, still both on the wall.
Yes.
Pretty good draw from Conor here as well. Surely the thought here is, what is the value in this hand? What are we really going for here? We have an option to discard the 9-pin just because it's unlikely to get the 8-pin anyway, and that is what he goes for. So playing very aggressively here, not just going to settle for a Riichi only again. I love this play from Conor, especially with the point gaps and everything. Playing a little bit greedy is completely the way to go, I think.
Yeah, I think it's also early enough, right? You don't need to rely on a 7-9 weight if it's... Okay, maybe you were sort of mid-game, but certainly if you're at row 1... you lose a little bit, maybe, of efficiency right now, but you're going to get hopefully better shapes near the end. Either way,
When
the
Tramy
Reach
does hit the tempai,
did not
so
get
there's
the
a
pre-order
one,
sequence, but
yeah, one cut south. So there's one south left, and then I think the 7-mon is completely live and Suji trapped. So we'll see if that fools anyone here.
yeah, the Green Dragon, I believe, it is a pretty safe tile, honestly. I think it's interesting that we didn't keep it for the Ipatsu turn.
Yeah, I think Conor always a little bit wary, especially with my experience with a lot of these players. They love their honor weights. So in things like the South, even though it's once cut, it might not come out as easily as with some other groups. So there's
true.
always a little bit of a meta with players that you play more often and everything. And we always see that with national tournaments like this, where it's only players from that nation or from that play group that are coming in here. So we'll see if that affects anyone's decisions to not deal in with the South here.
I'm pretty sure the odds of that, the odds for win, I think on a once cut on a tile, is it 27%, something like that, based on Terra stats. So it's actually a pretty good weight, all things considered, especially if you get it nice and early like this.
Absolutely, the one cut honor on a pair weight is better, even obviously,
Yes,
with two
that's what I
tiles live there. Because then you also end up with situations where people draw a pair of them and like, oh, they have to have exactly the last one, and every time I discard it, they do. So that's usually how it goes.
Yeah, I think twice cut is 22%. None cut is like 23%, which is surprising. The fact they're so close, and then once cut is the holy grail of on a tile pair weights.
Absolutely, and
Ooh,
fantastic Ishanten from Conor here. Lots of different tiles to draw to hit Tempai.
Yeah, this is not the tile you want to be seeing, though. This is why I say, like, sometimes when you keep Ladora, you just keep it forever. But
yeah, especially with
the
Riichi like this.
Yeah, we have to fold. Perfectly acceptable.
Yep, so we know where one of the 7-mon is so far. So still one live left on the wall, and then the last South still unseen. So 2 live tiles for Tramy in the wall. We'll see if any get picked up here.
And yeah, I agree with you in chat. Exactly. We do need some bloodthirsty behavior. That's not the best I would have picked, but I like it. I like it. It's powerful.
And this is the time to do that too, right? Because with her and declaring Riichi, then it's a really good spot to be if you can trap, if you can get that push going.
Very true. I actually really like what Martin's doing, by the way. Keeping pairs. It's not exactly a very likely hand to ever get close to ready anymore, but the fact that we have those pairs in the hand, we still have a way of maybe getting to tempo at the very end. As I was saying earlier, tempo payments are really important, and especially when you want to make sure you're ahead of Tramy.
Yeah, Chitoi really one of the best defensive hands, because if you end up in a tight spot, you at least have a pair of something to discard, so you have 2 safe tiles in a row. So I always love going for that when someone is pushing aggressively or whatever. If you have the option to kind of switch it around to Chitoi, it gives you that outside chance, like you're saying, to hit Tempai without necessarily full committing and being all out like some hands would.
Yeah, exactly. Might have a chance to call there to try. Oh, but no, we take the draw instead. Speaking of Chitoi.
Yeah, it's a Chitoi option.
Things we have to discard to make that happen. Yeah, but that's it. I don't feel
yeah,
that
the problem is the
that.
7 so, yeah.
Yeah. And the South
but draws the South. Okay, that's perfect here. So Riichi sumo only, but reveals no other. So this will be 1,000 points all. So nice little win here. Not a ton or anything to write home about, but still completely fine. Going to push this lead forward and get a home buff for Tramy.
Yeah, exactly. These things add up.
All right, so moving into East 2-1. Still an hour and 6 minutes left on the clock here, so plenty of time to play through, even though it is only East 2. So we'll see what this ends up being here.
How do Dora?
We reveal the white dragon is Dora. Yep.
And yeah, as you can see, I do love this as a feature. You can see how the scores are going to look if this game would end right now. Tramy already in the lead, but with 89 points, oof. If we end up getting a score gap that big going into the final game, I think it might be a battle for second place. We'll see. There is still time, of course. But this
Oh,
is
absolutely. I know
building
none
up
of
to
these
be
players are going to settle for second.
this is building up to be a pretty incredible start, though.
It's pretty decent. It has a few honors and terminals to get rid of. So still a few Shanten, or if you make it a little bit quicker, it's bad shapes with the terminals. But we'll see what she ends up drawing. If she pairs an honor or something like that, it can really help out a lot.
Wait, didn't she have a pair of the red dragon? Maybe I misread that. Either way.
Yeah. Oh, Martin, a little bit of rough shape here. One of each wind. Unfortunately, not space mahjong, so you can't make a run out of that.
Sadly not. Oh, no, I missed that. Okay. But Martin does have the pair of the dragons. Obviously, we can go for a cheap hand if we want to. Getting value out of this is going to be the tricky part.
Yeah, absolutely. Zhiyu's hand is the interesting one here, I think. So there's some opportunities. There's even a chance to end up with like San Uncle and that sort of thing with this hand. But it really depends on how it develops here.
Speaking of dragons, that is a very nice draw for Martin. Could even be going for perhaps a flush with only 3 non-suited tiles at this point. I would be at least considering it.
Yeah, and I think that's what Tramy's thinking as well with her hand. So yeah, definitely some options here for some really aggressive play coming out from these players. Conor moving pretty quickly towards Tempai here, though.
And of course, the moment I say that, I curse it. I do apologise. We draw a very useful character tile, which is not in the suit we were looking for a flush. I think we have to give up on that and just go for a nice quick reach instead.
Yep, unfortunately, only the first hand wins the game after all. Conor really thinking here, wants to discard that white dragon, but opts to hold on to it, trying to find that Dora pair. Especially with none of them on board yet, it is a pretty decent play in my opinion. Is probably what I would make.
The last 3 draws seem to suggest that maybe you want to be even aiming for Itsu here for Conor's hand. I wasn't even thinking about that, but then we drew the 7 of bamboo, we drew the 8 of bamboo, we're just missing the 9 and 5. I'll just quickly check that again.
Yeah, definitely some great draws here developing for value. And another pair coming in for Zhiyu here. So moving towards that Sananko that I talked about.
Yeah, the 9 and 4, obviously. Now I can see it a second time. The other exciting thing is potentially, if we do get that 4 of bamboo, not only do we have Itsu on offer, we had that Sanshoko again, for the 4, 5, 6 in the other suits building up. And yeah, as you say, I would be really curious to see what Tramy does with the incomplete Manzu set, given how that hand is screaming that it wants to be a flush, but it's just
Yes and no. She did opt to discard the red dragon here, which you normally wouldn't do if you're going for the Honitsu. I think with the center tiles being almost done with row 1, I think you just have to slow it down a little bit and just go for, non-Honitsu hands. I just don't think anyone's really advanced enough in their hand shape.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly right. Tramy's not the one who needs to be aggressive and looking for points. She just needs maybe 2 seconds. Obviously, a first is amazing, but
yeah, first would not quite clinch it, but would be very, very close.
Yeah.
Conor still with the hard decisions, choosing to hold on to that white dragon, opting for that as opposed to the potential for the Itsu that you were talking about.
Yeah, and I think that's perfectly fine, especially after we've drawn 2 very good shapes in the other suits.
Ooh, great pickup from Tramy. So this is a Tenpai. But it would be a bad shaped Tenpai. So that's the hard part here. So you could wait on either 2 or 9 pin and Forso. Or no, sorry.
Either way, you're waiting on 3,
mistaken.
5 in the characters, yeah.
Yeah, I was completely mistaken. Sorry about that. It wasn't quite Tenpai there.
I think it's interesting. I would be making the Itsu hedge personally. How many 1 pins do we see? Because if we don't see any out yet, maybe cut down one of the 2 or the 9 of 9 dot pairs. Probably the 2 of dots would be my choice, and we do see 2 ones already out.
We do see 2 of them.
A bit unfortunate, but I'd at least be considering that.
And Zhiyu with a draw here that could move towards a Tanya as well with the 1-mon discard. So I think we're likely to see that here. No, opts for the 7 instead. So choosing to keep a little bit more efficient shape, being able to accept the 2-mon if you draw it.
Yeah, another miss for Conor. The sad thing about Dora is I think this was something that was mentioned in the previous match. When you don't see any played, especially when it's a Dragon Dora, there are really 2 potential options. One is the one you're hoping for, that no one has it. And the other one is maybe someone else has got a pair or a triplet already. It's a bit scary.
Yeah, and unfortunately, backfire on that 8 so discard there. That would have been a pretty decent shape to get in hand with the 8 as well as that 6 there. But unfortunately, not able to at this point and still choosing to hold on to that dragon. Tramy draws one as well. Seems a little bit frustrated with the draw if I'm reading the hand motion right. So really trying to think it through and decide what to discard here.
Well, if Tramy wants to go for that flush, now we've cut the 4/5 man shape. It's not a terrible idea to cut the 1 of bamboo. It's a bit dangerous, but...
Yeah, I think she's reading danger from somewhere here. She's going to hold on to the 1/4 shape. So there's someone's hand that she's worried about.
Honestly, if we just look at the discards, how many bamboo tarts have we seen played by anyone?
Yeah, like Martin has none in play. Bamboo are just very expensive right now. Was that a pawn from Zhiyu?
I don't believe so. Okay, quickly check that. Oh, yeah, Zhiyu called the 3-man. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, so opting for the toy direction instead of the Sananko we were talking about before. So still, same general idea there. But I think with the white dragons clogging up people's hands, this sort of aggressive pawn and everything will really put them off discarding them. So I think it might force some players into folding unless Zhiyu draws his own white dragon here, which we don't see just yet.
A little bit of a backfire, unfortunately, with that 7 of characters. Keeping it this time, though.
Yeah, and I think that's still fine, because you still have the draws that hit 10 pi and everything with it, even if you can't use the pair just yet.
In worst case, we just have a 5/8 of character weight instead, with the 6s and the 8s there. So we're not going to end up 3/10 guaranteed, at least.
And Martin, I believe, moving into 10 pi here. Conor with a pair of white dragons, and that is going to be a Riichi waiting on 3/6 mon with a Dora 2 hand for what would be 5,200 base.
Just doing a bit of counting here because I want to see how this works out. Oh, but they're not the only one who draws a pair of dragon tiles. This is not 10 pi. For Tramy.
No, not 10 pi yet. So there's a couple of discards that you could argue here. The 7 so doesn't look awful with the 6/8 in Conor's discards here, but with all the Dora missing, you still have to be very, very cautious. Obviously, they have to be somewhere. You hope the somewhere's in the wall, but it's really hard to say for sure. So Tramy taking her time, thinking this through. I think we're going to see the 8-pin come out, though. I think it's going to be a fold. Ooh, 9-pin. So I actually do like that discard. The early 8-pin makes the 9-pin a lot safer, because you wouldn't discard the 8-pin if you could still use it typically.
Do we see 3 of the 8-pins? So there is somewhat walled, and the 8-pin was really early from Conor's discards as well. So generally, you want to get rid of shapes you can't use before the shapes you can. So hopefully that implies, there's another 9.
Immediate backfire.
That the 9 is going to be less useful, right? Because we see the 8 come out very, very early in the hand as the 4th discard.
Absolutely.
There's also Charlotte Martin, who has managed to sneak into 10 by waiting on 2/5 of bamboo.
But with a bad pickup here, so if he tries to maintain the 2/5 weight, he has to discard either 3 or 6, and that is what we see. So Conor going to be able to roam this. So this is a 5,200 point base hand here. We'll see if there's any Ura to make it a Mungan. And there is not. So this will be 5,200 from Martin to Conor here. It's a great little win from Conor that will actually put him in first place for this match so far, moving into East 3 with 56 minutes left on the clock. Plus 300 as well. I always forget this Homba.
Okay, who don't? My brain is apparently really
Martin
bad.
dealt into Conor.
Martin dealt in, okay.
Yep, for 5,500 total. All right, so Zhiyu's deal going into East 3 here. Looks like there's a slight mistake. No, I don't know.
Did we misreach? We may have misreached. Hang on. Okay.
No worries.
That's fine. In that case, that's on me for not noticing that. My apologies. It's my first time doing stuff like this. I'm yeah.
Oh, no worries. I'm sure people are more interested in the game than the HUD anyway. So pretty decent starting hand from Zhiyu here. Conor with a pair of dragons could opt for the flush here. I actually like, hedging and starting with the 1-mon here, I think. Not super likely, but it is still something you want to keep an eye out for. Opts to discard a guest win instead, which also completely fine. A little bit more efficient. A little bit easier to work with here. Tramy with another pretty advanced shape already. That's 2 or 3 completed shapes. So very, very potentially fast hand. Yeah, Conor just with that pair of white dragon, nothing too much else. Martin, okay, starting shapes as well. But yeah, I think Tramy is definitely in the lead as far as hand advancement goes.
How am I? Oh no, what have I done?
Oh, but Zhiyu actually trying to catch up very quickly fills a kanchan, which always feels absolutely great when you draw that middle center tile. Last thing you want to do is wait on it, so drawing it early definitely helps out a lot. Martin, just one bad shape to get rid of, but overall very good hand shape. Tramy filling another nice slot here. So Ishanten for a Pinfu hand. Conor continuing to make some advancements, even if they are for a little bit worse shapes than you'd like. Okay, so Conor could still opt for this flush here, keeping that option open, not really, discarding any of the relevant suit or anything just yet. But continuing on, Martin with a 6 so draw. So there's options that bring this hand to Tanyao, and that's surely what he's thinking through right here, but opts for the more efficient play instead. Tramy still sitting on the perfect Ishanten, so 20 tiles total. That could bring her to Tenpai. I'm not sure exactly how many are in discards here. Martin drawing Ishanten of his own by the look of it. And there is Tramy's Pinfu. So this hand will be Riichi Pinfu Dora. So surely taking the Riichi here. Yep, and that's what we see. So Riichi Pinfu Dora on the 6th turn for Tramy. Conor drawing good tiles, but it's going to be hard to push into this Riichi. I think the green dragon is completely fine as a discard here, especially so close to the other green dragon coming out in discard. Yeah, so greens are just completely dead at this point. Tramy's draw and got the Ipatsumo. So reach Ipatsumo Pinfu Dora. And the Ura will get 1 Ura as well. So reach Ipatsumo Pinfu Dora Dora for a Hanemon, if I'm counting that correctly. So fantastic hand here, 3,000, 6,000. So Zhiyu taking a pretty big hit here, and Tramy rocketing herself up back to a pretty good lead. See, anytime someone asks me in chat or whatever what my favorite Yaku is, I always say Pinfu. And everyone's like, oh, Pinfu's not worth any points. But then you see hands like this. And this is why I love Pinfu. It can be anything. It could be a Hanemon with just a little bit of effort. So great to see. All right, so we're getting a slight point check here just to make sure that the HUD is accurate and everything. So just very, very quick pause here, and then we will be back with the next hand very, very shortly.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I ended up being very quiet because I've made a mess of it.
Oh, don't worry.
I knew this was going to happen.
Completely fine.
Okay, thank you. So I was 1,000 points away on Martin's hand. That's good. My mental maths apparently is terrible. Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay, thank you. That was correct. I got Tramy's score right. That's good. Oh, I'm so sorry. Even with the calculator, I think the calculator's made things worse because I should just be trusting my own mental maths.
You must be more awake than I am then, that's for sure. My mental math is awful.
Yeah, Trammy struggling to count a treasure. Can't relate. Yeah, true. My apologies. Okay. It was Conor who won that Riichi stick. Understood. Thank you very much. That is going to be up to date. And we are moving on, I believe, to East 4.
Yep, that's correct. Conor will be on the deal in second place. Going to try to make some kind of dent in Tramy's lead here, but right now she is absolutely dominating not just this game, but the entire match so far.
Alrighty then. Back in. That's fair. Yeah. We'll be adding an extra bit to the timer thanks to my mistakes. I have to admit to it when it's been on me.
Oh, just broadcasting issues. If this is the biggest hiccup in this tournament, it'll be completely fine. There was another tournament I went to that was being live streamed and it had the red fives in it. It was a variants on a roll set. And what they didn't realize, the club never played with red fives, so the red fives were marked because they weren't worn like the rest of the tiles were. And it wasn't until like round 5 that a player noticed and called it out, so they had to make a live switch of the sets on stream. So as long as we don't hit something like that, we'll be completely fine, I think.
Oh goodness, yeah, that sounds very fun.
Oh yeah. Lots of scrambling to say the least.
Alright, so the door is going to be the 5 of bamboo this time around. And let's see what Conor can do. This is Conor's chance to make a big impact in this. We're getting confirmation from the organisers. We don't have a spare set for the order table, so hopefully there's nothing marked. No, that'd be pretty unfortunate.
Yeah,
if true.
Absolutely.
Still, this could
be
the start of Zhiyu's comeback.
Yeah, Zhiyu, very good starting hand here. Conor's is a little bit weaker. Not too much you can do about it other than just keep him plodding on, unfortunately. Yeah, so a couple door acceptance available in Martin's hand here, but not really too much else. Tramy already integrating one at the door pretty nicely, so I think we'll probably see the 6 so discard right here.
Probably
slight
full-man
difference.
first because we want to keep the maximum efficiency, right? So
yes and no.
Yeah, I get. Actually, no. We want to make our weakest shapes the strongest they can be. I think you're right. You're right. My apologies.
Yeah, and the play I mentioned isn't the weakest shape becoming the strongest necessarily, but it is locking in the Dora and getting rid of the tiles near the Dora. So this is the strongest shape you can make, this perfect Ishan, but there's a few draws that make you discard that Dora, which if someone else looks aggressive or something is a lot harder to deal with than if you discard the Dora adjacent tile now, looking to keep a safe tile. So it's one of those give and take, offense, defense decisions that, there's so much subtlety in the decisions. All right, so Martin with an Unco of the White Dragon here, Ishan 10 as well. So very, very good position for Martin. Unfortunately, the score not going his way just yet, but this could be what he needs to start getting back in the right direction.
Yeah, the really interesting about Martin's discards is it makes it when you see those as your first 6 discards, you're thinking that person's flushing, right? There's no way that they're cutting like a 6, a 5 in a suit if they're not just trying to get over every tile in that suit.
Absolutely, and this is where some advanced level plays really come in handy. So if advanced players will watch where a discard comes from. So whether it's the tile you drew or tile, from within the hand. So if they notice that a lot of these tiles are coming from just the draw here, they might not make quite that read, but at the same time, it's really, really difficult if you end up in a weight other than Manzu, because people are going to look at this, say, well, Manzu are safe, and just keep discarding Manzu against you.
It's very true, yeah.
It's one of those things where sometimes I will intentionally show that I have other suits in my hand, like to try to cut a Giri or something where you discard a tile from within your hand from a tile that you drew, so a matching tile. Very useful to kind of signal, yeah, this isn't a Honitsu. You can deal in, I promise. Whether or not people fall for it, that's a different story.
See,
So interesting draw here from Martin, the 7-pin. So
yeah,
this could be a Sun Uncle.
the really interesting thing for Martin would be if you discard mostly Manzu tiles, then you discard some Sozu tiles, but actually end up waiting on the Sozu. I think that'd
Yeah,
be quite
absolutely.
fun. Completely by
Yeah,
accident
that'd be ideal.
sometimes, but when the circumstances align, it can be very exciting.
Absolutely. I think all the best traps and that sort of thing in Mahjong are accidents, at least on some level. Like you can't necessarily plan for Suji traps, at least not in a way that doesn't give away what you're doing. Um, but things like this, you can definitely make advantage of them.
We did see Tramy get a little bit of an unfortunate backfire, drawing the 3 of characters after having cut that 4 we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be interested to see what Martin does if he gets a chance to pawn something here, though. Because you could pawn and take a quick tempai, but you really cut out a lot of the value if you don't reach you this hand.
Yeah, that's true. When you've got to make 22,000 points, it's you have to start getting a little bit adventurous, creative. I think sometimes.
Yeah, I think from Martin's perspective, you're really looking for like a 2-pin, 3-pin sort of thing. Would actually like this draw a lot. So real quick, Tramy could discard the 6-so here. That gets rid of the tile that's directly adjacent to the Dora, as well as keeping a good shape still. Choosing to discard the Tumon instead, though. So reading some danger at the table, possibly from the apparent flush that you were talking about.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely be, especially when we see a. Well, actually, this is tempo. No, it's not. I'm wrong. I'm wrong.
It is tempi, but it's not a great weight. So it's
Yeah.
waiting on 5-7. So if you take this Riichi. But that said, the 5-so being Dora, as dealer, I think you just take this. Like, it's not ideal by any means, but the upgrades are pretty difficult for this hand. So I'd probably just slam it here, and that is what Conor goes for.
Do we see the final 7 in the discards? I can't remember if we've seen that played yet, but
I don't believe so, no.
either way, yeah, 3 tiles, as you say, if 2 of them are Dora, that's Dora 3. There's nothing wrong with that at all. And we were just saying, need to go for value.
Absolutely. And again, even if it doesn't end up getting there, we go to Ryokoku, that's still a pretty significant point swing, and then you get the chance to win your Riichi stick back the next hand anyway. And actually, in Conor's discard, do we see 2-8-so? No, I'm completely losing it, just the 2-so. So if the 8-so comes out at some point, it could be a Nakasuchi trap, but you always still have to be a little bit wary of the Dora there. So obviously watching on here, we see 1 Dora in Zhiyu's hand, 1 in Tramy's hand. So we know that the Dora draw is dead, but I don't think we see the 7-so yet.
No,
so there's one live
it's still
tile in the
out there,
ball.
yeah. 1 tile is not the greatest thing in the world, and it's also going to be used by anyone else if they are drawing it. Like Tramy here can easily use that 7, is probably looking for it. But I could actually see Tramy folding at this point, not giving any giving sort of the respect to the dealer, Riichi. But either way, the important thing is, one thing you want to be trying to do is, especially from first place, is making sure that the
There it is.
dealer doesn't get to win. But there it is, exactly. So
oh yeah,
just
fantastic hand for Conor. Riichi Sumo Dora 2, and we're checking the urn now.
Does this hand bump up? It does not.
It does not. So this will be a 3,900 point all hand from Conor. So fantastic way to start out the dealership, and we will be getting a wrench on as well. So moving into East 4-1 next.
Let's get these scores updated.
And players just figuring out the best way to give change and everything here. All right, then. So that should put Conor in the lead here. So leading going into the second East 4.
It sure does.
All right. Let's see what these starting hands look like. So dice are rolled, and we're going to start getting our first look here shortly. Oh, not a great first 4 tiles from Conor, to say the least. Not really improving. Like this hand is looking like Chanta already, which is not really what you want to see from your first few draws. Does pick up the red dragon pair.
And
So that is
Tudor.
something. This could end up being Toy Toy or Chi Toy as well, depending on what the draws are.
Honestly, with Tudor, I'd just be trying to speed this hand along as quick as I can.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I like the sound a lot better than it initially looked like. So obviously we're going for the pawn of the red dragon here, but that's already a base of 5,800 points if you just have the 2 Dora and dragon. All right, Tramy here in the west position with the pair of southwind, not necessarily what you want to see. But overall decent shapes, just a couple bad ones that we need to figure out something to do with.
Yeah, decent shapes, and I also see the 4-5-6 miserable sequence is definitely available. I'd be giving the 5-7-9 as long as I can. I wouldn't want to be getting rid of that. There is a bit of overlap between the 4-5 and the 5-7-9, but this early on, I don't mind that too much. Even if we are overlapping on that 6 draw.
And Chi Toy chances getting a little bit more real here. So we see the 1-mon drawn with one mon already in discards. So a lot harder to use it as a triplet, but could still end up being that pair. An Eastwind pickup, unfortunate first discard then, with the chance for double East missed, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think it was interesting that we did see the East discarded on turn 1. I think the reason maybe might have been people thinking about big 3 dragons or something like that, but because of that double East, I think there was an interesting decision to keep or get rid of it. With 5 dragon starts,
pair.
Oh, that's really awkward, right? Because you want to go for you want to call the red dragon, right, just to speed along. You also want to call Dora as well if you can, but if 7 pairs comes along, I guess you just have to reach.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, as dealer, I don't even necessarily like reaching this hand. Now, obviously, with the score difference, that's one thing you might need to consider it. But a Dama hand with 2 Dora, it would just be a 9,600 point hand already. But Conor is going to opt to try for a little bit more here. So this hand is angling closer to the Mangan side.
Still, there's nothing wrong with a dealer Mangan. That's exactly what Conor needs right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the best discards that Conor could see would be the 2-mon, because you can pawn that and people think that the 1-mon's a lot safer. So only one 1-mon left, obviously. You need all the help you can to be able to get it out of someone's hand.
6 doesn't help. We don't believe in suited traps of the Dora, at least. I don't think the 9's likely to come out because we simply played a 6. I don't think the players here are going to fall for that kind of trap, but you never know.
Yeah, and Tramy picking up a 4th pair here as well, as you drawing one of the Dora and choosing to keep it in your hand as well, like you were saying there. Now, one thing that does have Conor going for it here is there's only bamboo and discards. So we talked about it a bit the last hand here, but those bamboo are going to make the bamboo seem a lot safer. We'll see if that includes someone discarding the Dora or not.
Yeah, the door is never safe, in my opinion, but I don't know what these players are going to do. I think they're probably at least as good as me, if not better, so...
Yeah, I see a slight hesitation for Conor with the discard there. That might be a tell for someone that they could have Dora in their hand, but we'll see.
West doesn't quite do it. Although that is
now
making
that could help.
9 very interesting, right? We see 3 of the 8s out now. So we've
so
ruled out this
Kabe.
7-8 shape.
Yep, 9 is completely Kabe, so we'll see what Zhiyu chooses. Like, Zhiyu is kind of the linchpin for that decision right now, because having 2 7s, you can still use the 7s.
Yes.
But that 9 is just a floating tile. It's not great in Zhiyu's hand right now.
Yeah. You really want to play for that 7, 8, 9 to use the Dora, but if there aren't any 8s left, yeah, it's...
Right,
the other thing is you have to play aggressively, right? You don't really have much of a choice, but you could always pair up the Dora yourself!
Yeah, why not? Let's just draw perfect. It's absolutely completely fine. Obviously, he's hoping for the 3rd Dora to be drawn here, but we know that's never going to happen.
True.
Here's a 2-mon, though. That's almost certainly coming out. Yeah, there it is. So we're going to see a pawn here. Yeah, so the pawn comes out, and then we're going to discard 7-9. Okay, yeah. So the 1-mon is super likely to come out here. With one of them in discard already, I think it's going to be almost a sure thing if someone wants to discard it.
Yeah, Connor's still not tempo, but having the all triplets as well would be a very welcome addition.
Absolutely.
We'll see.
Especially with Martin right here, it looks like the A-pin could come out, but opting not to just yet.
I guess that's the other thing, right? Do Connor's discards look like an all triplets hand? I should quickly check that again. Because if it does, it is going to make those
really.
ones seem less safe, right, to everyone else on the table.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, Connor's hand looks more like a flush of some kind. So it's hard to say exactly how players are going to read that, especially with the early honor discards.
Yeah, I guess.
Actually, just notice. So he didn't take the Tempai. He discarded the 7-pin. So really angling hard for that Toy instead.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, I should have mentioned that. But yeah, I guess it does look a little bit Toy-y, because we've got quite a lot of middle tiles being played early. But not enough, as you say, to categorically say that's what they're going for. So we'll see.
Yeah, absolutely. Alright, so you're still on Ishan-10 for a Chi-Toy hand as well. Unfortunately, no help for Conor here just yet.
And the other thing is, obviously, with the flush, if we end up discarding quite a few Manzi tiles at having called the Manzi, it might actually make the one look safer. And you know what? That's actually probably a good thing for Conor. I take that back.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think that it's almost a certainty the one will come out if it gets drawn here. And Zhiyu having to make a hard decision here. So you could keep your Chi-Toy Ishan-10, but this is a triplet as well, which would then let you use another Dora if you draw it. So hard decision here. I think you probably want to just discard the 7. So especially with it coming out on the right side here, we can assume it's also pretty safe overall. And safety is something you don't really want to sell short this late in the hand, but opts for the 7-mon instead. I'll draw the 1-mon himself. Okay, so Conor Tempai waiting on Dora or 2-pin. We see one of the 2-pin pretty well locked up here. So I don't think we can plan on seeing this one come out anytime soon. I don't think we've seen the other one just yet.
Keep an eye open. We see people win on one tile discards before. I'm sure we'll see it again, but will it be this hand?
But we also see the
this is
Tempai
too.
Here.
A much
so
wider
Tempai
way.
for Riichi Tanyao. A little bit unfortunate, missed the Sanshoku chance here, but it is what it is. Now, one good thing for Conor is that the 2-pin does look pretty safe against Tramy's discards. Whether or not other players will read that and really try to push into it is another question. But we'll see what players end up doing here.
Yeah, exactly. And the other important thing, I think, especially if we end up making that 5 pass, it's going to be a jam, but
yeah, we have to go for it here.
Yeah.
Yep, and does choose to.
Yeah.
So Martin with a decision. Oh no, sorry.
No, I believe Tramy wins on
calling
that
the wrong
5, right?
Of course.
Wait, no. Yes. She had
6-7. So just Riichi Tanyao with 1 Honba as well. So this will be a 2,900 total score.
Okie dokie.
Yep, so 2,900 from Conor to Tramy. Definitely I forgot about the Ipatsu as well. So 5,200 becomes 5,500. My mistake. See, I'm the one trying to trip up your scores now at this point.
Yeah, it's really easy to make those kinds of errors, which is why whenever I see events, I always try and shout out the people behind the scenes making that work, because it is very impressive.
Yep, absolutely. All right, and we're going to move right into the next hand here. So this is going to be South 1 with Martin's deal.
But yeah, as it stands, Tramy once again in the lead. And our new Dora is... We'll see it flipped very shortly. The 9-pin. Okay.
Yep, so Martin on a little bit of a weaker side for the scorer perspective of this starting hand, but does have the White Dragon, can choose to push very aggressively, very quickly. And I think that's the route that he's going to go with this, to try to get that wrench on and start building that comeback.
So exactly what I thought Tramy was going to be doing until I saw that 9-pin in hand, and I think Tramy's going to be taking a much slower route here, probably going 7 pairs if I were them. Just because I want to be able to A, defend, and B, use that Dora. I don't want to give it to someone else, not when I'm in the lead.
Yeah, and usually the terminal Dora like that are a little bit safer. Obviously, if someone has a set of dragons or something, it's one thing. But if you discard it early, a lot of times people can't pawn it that early. But if they do, you know who to play defensively against as well. So
That's
it's kind
true.
of a give and take as far as that goes.
Interesting for Martin, that's another pair. We do have that triplet. I don't like going
Yeah, so
toy.
3
It's a
pairs and
hand
a triplet.
I never go for, but this might be one of the few times. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, you just go for the men's end toy, right? The Suanko.
Yeah. That's the only one I ever go for. Otherwise known as failed chi toy.
See, with my local rule set, we actually try to encourage that. We play with a rule called Kansai Chi Toy, where if you have 4 of a tile, then it counts as 2 separate pairs. That encourages people to hold on to those triplets and make the Suanko just a little bit more likely.
Yeah, I've seen rule sets that use that, but I don't think EMA does. It would be fun though.
Oh,
I'd love to
absolutely
play
not.
an EMA variant where that works. That'd be really fun.
100%. So Conor keeping the 5th pair here, 5th sort of 4 pairs and a triplet. So the next draw, the next improvement is really going to depend on what Conor does here. If you want to go with the highest efficiency route, typically you want to keep the 3rd floating tile for that chi toy, but instead we're going to see an early Riichi probably.
And a Suji trap. I don't think you reach this. I think you just play it.
I think with the score situation, you have to Riichi here.
I would wait 1 turn. Maybe that's right. That's wrong. I'd play it so that my reach tile isn't the Suji trap, if that made sense.
Yes, but against players that are very aware, the players at this level, they'll see that sumo giri Riichi, right? And then they'll think, oh, there's some reason they sumo giried, and then it gets in this whole loop right there. Now, the one downside here is that the 7-pin is close to the Dora. So if we were going to wait here, it would be to change that weight, not to set the Suji trap.
That too. Exactly. I will say that this discard does not look like a pairs-based hand. It's been very, very fortunate that most of our tiles have been out on the outside of things.
Yeah, with the speed of the discards too, it's very hard to read a chi toy off this sort of thing. So if players run out of safe tiles, we might see things like the 7-pin come out.
Exactly.
But I think they'd have to be in a pretty desperate situation in order to do that.
Yeah, exactly. 7-pin being a useful tile is just going to be used more than anything else. Martin, unfortunately, drawing Dora here. It's going to slow this down. Maybe Martin's got to switch to chi toy. Hate to say it like that, but I'd be thinking about it because I don't want to be taking huge risks going into this reach.
Yeah, absolutely. Ooh, Conor drawing another triplet. That would have been the Ishanten for Suanko, but I think that is definitely the right call to go for this chi toy here.
The chi toy we have is way better than the Suanko we might have. It's fine. It's okay.
Unless the Suanko we might have happens.
I mean, yeah, but that's not we'll see.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than the regret of looking at your discard pile and say, oh, I actually drew a Suanko and, reach it instead. But, it is what it is. That's Mahjong for you. So We'll play with the hand we have here and see if we can find this 7-pin. There's not a lot of them in people's hands just yet. So lots of them still live in the wall here. So we'll see if we're able to draw any of them here to get the sumo.
Yeah, I do think Martin doesn't necessarily have to go for the 7 pairs hand. They do have the pair of the White Dragon that can easily just make White Dragon only. Or White Dragon Dora because they've got the 9-pin there. But I like that Martin's still trying to be a little bit more on the attack. I like it. It's tough. It's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah, I think it's the only choice you have, yeah.
Exactly. It's tough, it's scary, but it is what you have to do in this situation, so...
Yeah, 100%. So not really seeing any of them drawn yet either. And the benefit there for Conor is that if you sumo the chi toy and then flip an ura, which is about 20% chance, then it gets a Hanuman. So that's one of the big benefits of reaching a hand that would otherwise be chi toy only.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, the Dora does come out. I think...
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised to see that, especially from Tramy here.
Yeah.
But
It's
choosing to
going
play a
to
little
make
more
the path
aggressively,
open for
Martin won't
Martin, though.
mind.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so Martin follows suit here. All right, that's a good draw here. So that is 10 pi, and it's waiting on the tile that was discarded for the Riichi, which would normally be very good, but it's better if you can Dama it.
Yes.
So unfortunately, with Tramy's hand here, not quite Tanya have that, 9 months sticking out there like a sore thumb. But is going to choose for the Riichi.
I think that is very brave, but I will cross my fingers for you.
Yeah, and it's always a difficult one, right? Because you don't want to just, let hands go by and everything. But the one thing I will say is this makes it a lot less likely that someone's going to trust that Suji trap that Conor has in his discards. And we see Martin here really thinking on the 7-pin draw.
Yeah, but especially with 2 Riichis on the table now, there isn't really too much you can do other than maybe fold at this point. I was commending your tenacity for staying in it, but I think tenacity only gets so far. At some point, it becomes foolhardy to push.
Absolutely. So we've got 2 7-pin left on the wall. Oh, and Martin picks up another one here. Not great for Conor. So down to 1 tile left on the wall because I don't think we'll see Martin discarding this anytime soon.
I could see Martin going for 7 pairs. Okay, maybe not. And waiting on the very same 4.
Oh, and there's the last one. That's exactly what Conor wanted to see. So hitting Tramy directly here. What's the Ura, though? That's the real question.
Yeah.
It's the difference between 3,200 and 8,000 points here if we hit an Ura.
We do
hit it. So that's an 8,000 point swing from Tramy to Conor, as well as the 1,000 points for a Riichi stick. So fantastic. So not quite putting Tramy low enough to be in danger of, hitting last in this game or anything just yet. But definitely a nice little injection of points into Conor here. All right, so we're going to be moving on to Tramy's deal. A kind of dangerous spot to be in the lead and be dealing, honestly. Lead overall in the match, that is. Just because the sumo from, any big hand or anything like that really does hurt if you're in the dealer position. But at the same time, I don't think it's really something that we have to pay too much attention to. We probably still just have to, play pretty conservatively overall, pay up the sumo if we have to.
Well, Tramy's not in the lead at any bar. She's in the lead for the overall event, but in this game, it will be a reversal situation. Ooh, now this is looking pretty good. Let's see how it looks when it's sorted. The Dora will be the one of characters.
Yeah, so no Dora, a couple terminals to get rid of here. But overall, the shapes are very good, very central shapes. Not really much in the Sozu, so it is going to discard the 1-so first, and I love that. So if you're going to go for like a Tanyao hand like this one seems to be, the all simples, then it's still good to hold on to the Yakuhai over the terminals. Reason being, if you draw the pair there, that pair of Yakuhai is the same as getting that Tanyao, and it gives you one more avenue to potentially complete that hand, as opposed to forcing 100% and then drawing into something that you can't use off that terminal.
Exactly, yeah.
So very tight play here from Tramy. I'm a big fan.
I also want to call out a shape that Tramy's holding right now because it's an underrated shape, and sometimes people overlook it. The, I believe, 3-4-4-5-6-6. Because, the 2, because there's a secret 2-4-6 hidden inside that 4-5-6, and sometimes people just get rid of the 2 without thinking too hard. But
yeah, true enough. So we'll see how that ends up being, and obviously it's going to really depend on what the draws are and everything to see exactly where that comes out at.
Either way, though, Tramy is speeding along to a hopefully quite nice quick reach. We are going to get rid of that 2 now because we drew the 7, and the 7 is much better, but it's important to keep in mind those sort of hidden shapes sometimes, because otherwise you might miss out. You might have a little backfire that would be a little bit unfortunate otherwise. And they're drawing the 8 of character, so the 8 dots is quite interesting. We do have that sort of dependency on the 7, But potential of that pure sequence is very, very fine. And Zhiyu getting the souths here. Puts them one away from Tempai. Going to be getting a two-side away no matter which way we go. In an ideal world, we get the south. But actually, I guess we could triple up the south for an even more value. But otherwise, it's going to be tricky. And Martin is going for huge value here. Going to be trying to make that flush happen. To squeeze out every single point that we could possibly get. You do like to see it. The 9 here doesn't really help, but we are going to swappy doppy, cut the 1 from our hand rather than the one we just drew. Gives information away, but also maybe that's the information you want them to have. So we'll see. Either way though, I believe 3 players, 1 away from Tempai right now. Is that our first one? I'm not sure. No, I think Conor's still 1 away. It's just a much wider one than we had before.
Alright then, so Tremy's hand looking pretty good here. So Ishan 10 for the Hanyao, and pretty wide shapes as well. Zhiyu, lots of pairs. Unfortunately, just a little bit off of the Honitsu, but is going to go ahead and choose to Riichi here.
Ah yes, waiting on the 3. I misread that. So yeah, not the greatest weight in the world, but certainly a Tempai one.
Yeah, sometimes Tempai is the most important thing here.
Yeah, like Zhiyu held up on the reach for I think a turn, just to try and find a better weight.
Yeah, one thing that is kind of advanced as far as everything goes there is if you are going to hold off on that Riichi, a lot of times it's better just to go ahead and break the Tempai because it gives you a few more options for the shape. Obviously, with Ziyu's discards and everything here, we see that's not really an option at all. You know, you only have terminals and everything leading up to it. But it's definitely something to watch out for if the tile that you would otherwise discard is, you know, a nice central tile or something. Conor here drawing a Tenpai as well.
Yeah, getting the
so this will be...
weight.
Yeah, Riichi Tanyao and is going to slam it on the table.
Riichi Tanyao, Ipeiko, pure sequence on top.
Ah, thank you.
The 3-3-4-4-5-5.
Oh, wow. Martin, absolutely beautiful draw here, but what do you do with this?
Yeah, I think it's still not quite there yet. But we'll see.
I think the efficient discard is to discard the 1 pin by the look of it, because it gives you some chances to pull into Tempai and that sort of thing.
I don't mind the 8-pin cut from what I remember of the hand. Obviously, we're seeing a few things blocked. But that 6 does give us a 6-7-8, which we can then just cement as our sequence. You keep the 9 as our pair, perhaps. Martin is holding his head. Yep. Absolutely. An important time to think, I think, when you've got a nice, complicated shape like that, especially with the reach out.
When we see another 9-pin come out, that was a chance for the Ponten.
Yes.
But we don't quite see it. And is going to draw a 6-pin instead. I believe that does hit Tenpai.
I believe it does. I think we have to...
Oh, it's just a Chitoi. Yeah. So Chitoi Honitsu Reach is on the table if we want to go that route. We could even discard the 4-pin, go a little bit dangerous, and try to Suji Trap the 7-pin. I think that's the route that I'd like, honestly. Especially with the 1-pin coming out here already. I think it's just the way that we have to go. Oh, but thinking it through, might go for the Nakasuji Trap instead.
Yeah, we have cut the 1 and the 7, so if we just
so interestingly,
Suji, it works either way.
Yeah, interestingly, typically the 4-pin would be the safer cut here, because people are less likely to take a bad weight towards the center of a hand and more likely to take it towards the outside. So 8-9 is going to be a lot more likely to be in hand in general than the 3-5 pin, for example. But in this case, we can see all the other 8s and 9s on the table other than the ones in the hand already.
And yeah, this is one of the situations where I think 9 times out of 10, if you're just playing a single game, the Dharma is perfectly fine. If I were Martin, I'd be really greedy. I maybe because I just because maybe that's not, maybe now's not the time for greed. Maybe the time for greed is actually going to be game 4, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yep, absolutely.
And yes, exactly. We do have the Ipeiko, I believe, 3-way Ipeiko, I believe. No. There's, the end up being 7 pairs, not the Ipeiko, but Tramy is there. with the Ipeko Tempai, but the 3 of bamboo is just a little bit too much of an ask.
No, is going to go ahead and discard it. She's not afraid.
If she was keeping a tempo, she would cut the 3 of bamboo rather than the 3 of pins.
No, fair enough, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess maybe a little afraid, but that's fair.
Could easily get back into tempo. There was plenty of time.
Absolutely.
Draw something around that 3, so.
Yeah, so obviously the 4-pin being the dangerous one here for everyone involved.
And yes, one thing to keep in mind is with EMA rules, there we would have had a double run situation. We do not have to deal with head bump. It's one of the reasons why I love EMA. It's one of the reasons why the league I run uses EMA rules.
I don't know if I've ever played in a tournament other than the Ireland tournaments with that rule. And so actually, Martin is going to go with the 4-pin discard here.
No, it won't. Hang on. Martin changed. Wait.
Yeah, it was Tramy that could have had the 4-pin.
Okay. Yeah.
Wait here.
I thought 2 players waiting on the 4. Maybe I misread.
Well, it would have been Tramy. Because she had the 3-3-4-5-5 instead, but opted not to. Does draw a 3-so though, which is now safe, so could be 100% safe tile. I think she's just trying to decide exactly what to do after that, but is going to go ahead and drop the 5-pin now instead.
Wait, didn't the 4 deal into the Cheetoy? Am I going crazy?
It was the 7-pin the Cheetoy was waiting on.
Oh, the Cheetoy got switched to the 3 of bamboo.
Or sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Sorry, I completely missed that. My apologies. Martin's changed weights to the 3-so.
Yeah, now has the option to take the weight on the south wind as well here. And that would be back into Honitsu as well.
Yeah, we have 3 people waiting on the 3 of bamboo currently.
Yeah, absolutely. And is going to just play safely here. So acknowledges, yes, I need to hit some kind of Yakuman or something. Tramy not quite waiting on the 3-so, but not wanting to discard it either.
She's not tempo, no, you're right. She's 1 away. But yes.
Yeah, really thinking through this discard. And yeah, it's going to keep folding. And I love that from Tramy, honestly. Like, keep moving the game along. Don't play anything too dangerous, because with the lead that you have overall in the match, it doesn't matter if you take a second here. A second is completely fine. You want to avoid getting pushed into 4th. And dealing in is one of the few ways to do that from here.
Yeah, exactly. Especially when you consider that Conor is the one player who is going into this game in last. Conor getting first is not going to be as bad as, say, Martin getting first, right? So the player you're worried about, if you're Tramy, is currently in 3rd place, not the one you should be scared of.
Yep, absolutely.
But can we see Martin get back into Tempai? No, not quite.
Yeah, it's going to be a real tough one. There's going to be 3 draws that do it from here. I'm a little bit surprised we didn't see the Southwind discarded, but it is almost completely live at this point, because we can see that there's 3 of them in hand from Zhiyu. Sometimes people will still take a risk on that honor tile and that sort of thing, but instead choosing to stay a little bit safer here. This is actually kind of reminiscent of some pro play and that sort of thing, because in pro leagues, they actually teach you, if you don't have a chance of winning the set or the match or whatever, if you're so far out, don't make plays that basically solidify that. So in this kind of situation, pushing that hand doesn't really change the outcome that much just yet. So instead, you opt to fold a little bit safer, try not to play Kingmaker. So kind of an interesting little situation there. But we are going to hit the end of the hand, Zhiyu Tenpai, as well as Conor here. So a little bit of payment out from the other players, but Tramy is going to be completely fine with this outcome. So we'll go into the next round. We'll be South 3-1 with 2 Reach 6 on the table. So basically Zhiyu and Conor at plus 500 points from that round, which obviously not exactly the best, but they have a chance to win back the Riichi 6 right here, right now. All right, so with Zhiyu on the deal, we're in match 3 out of 4 if you're just joining us now. And it'll be a total cumulative score for all 4 of these players. So that's the score that you see right above the current match score. So if you want to track along or anything, we're playing a 5-15 Uma. That's the winning bonus for players getting first or whatever placement that ends up being. Dora for this hand is the 4-pin as well. So Zhiyu has some acceptance with it, but not exactly in a situation to be using it just yet. Conor with an interesting draw here. So finding the Onco 6 pin kills a lot of the potential value of the hand, but definitely makes the high end a lot higher. So we'll see what he continues to draw here. It's interesting because in this position, he almost wants to try to sneak another big roll on Tramy to put her in a tough spot going into South 4. But with Conor being the dealer in all last tier, really anything could happen. He could go on an absolute tear for the remaining time in this round here. Who knows? So it's going to be really telling to see exactly what the points look like at the end of this deal.
Yeah, I just finished up doing the scores and I had a quick little look at Conor's hand, and I know it's maybe silly to dream big, but I just want to see some more triplets come up in that hand. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we all do at this point. And draws like that don't hurt it really, because that has some very outside chances of the Sanshoku as well. And actually, was that Tempai just now for Martin?
I believe so.
That was Chitoy Tempai, right?
Let's have another check.
Now, obviously, they didn't choose to reach it or anything. Probably waiting on a better weight, which this early you can easily do with Chitoy.
Yes.
Because I think it was a central tile weight.
It is, in fact, Tempai waiting. Oh, it's not. No, we've got 6-9, sadly. But that's Tempai.
Oh, no. There it is, yeah. I'd still probably wait here, and he is going to. So going to try to find a better weight, something to trap someone on, and move on from there.
Yeah, we were talking about the chance of honor tiles, and ideally you want to be finding a once cut honor tile for your Chitoy, as long as you can make sure that no one else sees it as a Chitoy hand.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, and actually going to break down the Chitoy needs more points, which I can't blame him for at all. With this score position, really needs to hit like at least third or so in this game to kind of be in a reasonable striking distance. So really wants to hit Tramy as well. And one way to do that could be to get this Honitsu going. Oh, beautiful draw here.
You know what? It's happening.
Yeah, so we probably even reject a sumo if we get it here, in favor of opting for the 6 so discards, because this could be Honitsu Chitoy Riichi, which would be a Hanemon at least, possibly a Baimon.
Especially with Tramy currently in second place, you need to try and make something happen. And I don't think Tramy dealing in is going to be that likely. So, yeah.
No, not super likely, but if any hand's going to do it, it's going to be Chitoy, right? So
That's
there's
true.
So many different traps and everything you can set with those Chitoy hands. But actually, Martin's going to go for the Toy Toy.
Okay.
Yeah, so Toy Toy Honitsu.
Not a bad hand, but certainly a little bit more visible than to the other players.
Yeah, that's a really aggressive push from Zhiyu here. So possibly trying to put on some pressure and say, hey, I'm the dealer. I'm opening my hand. You want to back off a little bit. So we'll see exactly how that ends up. But that is a very interesting play here.
It is South 3. It is their last dealership. So I understand the attempt to try and at least defend their last deal. I'll be thinking about it.
Yeah, because right now they're in a pretty Yakulous hand, right? Like, it's going to be really hard for them to really complete what they need to. Tramy does have the option here, though, to hit their Tempai.
Yeah, she has called the Green Dragon, so this is going to be fine, no matter which way we look at it.
Yep, and it's going to opt for 1 4-pin weight.
The fact there was so much deliberation over that 2-pin weight, and it seemed like there were 2 different choices, does make me think that the players who are paying attention are going to be seeing 1 4-pin as a potential weight choice, just because of how long it took to decide which weight to pick, I guess.
Jeez, everyone has a potential Chitoy here. Conor just won away as well.
Conor was just discarded. Martin's decided debating whether or not to call it. Does choose to. It will get them Tempai.
Yep, Tempai waiting on 9-mon West.
But Tramy gets the 4.
Gonna go ahead and sumo.
The good side too. That extra door.
Yeah, good side. Not a ton of points or anything. It's just a 500, 1,000 plus a Honba and 2 Riichis though. So 600, 1,100 plus 2,000 points. So not a small hand by any means. Actually does put her within striking distance of Conor. Just basically a Mangan away. God, imagine being in Tramy's position, trying to go for the clean sweep all first here.
That would be a very fun thing to watch, for sure.
Absolutely. but currently players are counting just for their benefit more than ours, trying to make sure everyone knows their exact position going into South 4. If you've never been in a tournament, this is very, very common practice and very, very important too, because that placement determines a big chunk of the points that you get with that placement bonus at the end there. So definitely a good idea just to take a couple minutes, even if the clock's still running, just to make sure that everyone knows exactly where they're at in the game. Logsman saying Martin can't catch a cold at this point in chat there. 100% agree. Unfortunately, it's just going in completely in circles for Martin right now, which sometimes that's mahjong, right? That's all you can do is just go with it and hope for a good deal around next match, I guess. But it's still always possible to do that and come back in this kind of game. Right, we do have the final scores going into all last here. So Tramy is 7,200 points behind Conor, who's in first with 47,000. So we'll get that updated for you guys just to make sure that we have everything exactly right here, as we double check on our side as well. But the hands are being drawn, and Conor being dealer is really going to try to run up the score here. Just like I was talking about for Martin, it is very, very important to, not end the game or anything like that, not pass your deal. You need this to be a big win if you want to be within any distance at all of winning the overall tournament.
All right, so with a little bit of time left on the clock, obviously I think there's an extra minute because of the score check we had at a time before this, but Conor could still get maybe 2 more hands if Conor manages to keep this dealership going.
Just get a Riichi Patsumo like twice, and then you might be able to get 3.
Yeah, maybe. I could see it.
So decent draws for Conor, but unfortunately not a super valuable hand. This hand would probably angle towards Tanyao for extra value. So here you probably discard the 9-pin because it's bulging off that shape. Yep, perfect. And we'll see if we can draw that Tanyao hand. The pair of 9-so is the one that's hard to get rid of, though.
Yeah, this is a really tough situation for both Zhiyu and Martin. Like, obviously you want to go for the position, it's worth 10 points, but is 10 points enough with only 1 game left? Or do you want to try and do something crazy? I think you have to just take the small win, right? If you're Martin or Zhiyu, just fight for your position and hope something exciting happens in the very final game. But
yeah, if you don't have a Yakuman chance or something like that here, I think you do, and just hope for that last dealer run, right? So it can happen to anyone. My highest win in a tournament is plus 117,000 in one match. So that took me from like 40th to 16th in the tournament. So it's always possible to be able to go on that kind of tear and really, really get some points racked up.
Did I commentate that game?
No. This was a real life game.
Because I'm trying to think. There was definitely a few Ginger Cup games where y'all made it above 100k.
That is true. I forgot about that.
I can't remember if that was one of yours. Either way, but the point is, it can happen. You have to believe.
Absolutely. So Conor here, not drawing the best tiles. That is technically a step closer to 10 pi. But I don't think you discard really anything in favorite. I'd probably just throw it right back here.
I think you're right.
Unfortunately, in the time situation, thinking is not what you want to be doing right now. But obviously, you can't play the clock too much in a tournament like this. You need to take your time and make sure that you're properly thinking everything through.
Yeah, yeah, there's definitely good. I don't think necessarily anyone's be thinking about the clock too much, but with Conor in the lead, yeah, just making sure you don't end up giving that lead away at the last minute is probably the most terrifying thing.
Yep, absolutely. We see Zhiyu holding onto the west wind at this point, as is the Dora, and cannot blame him at all here. With this kind of hand, you really need something to increase that value.
That's a triplet. Maybe we could go for a Yakuman hand from Martin.
Yeah, like at this point.
If you need a miracle, you could go for it for sure.
Yeah, I think I like the 2-so discard here. 5-pin is also fine, I think.
Get rid of the more dangerous
just because that does give the chance for it.
Yeah, I do think Martin's all in. I guess the 5 is safe to one player, but it's not guaranteed safe to everyone. So I think getting rid of it as early as possible if you're going to go Yakuan or nothing.
Yep. And Conor, not finding the best shape improvements here, is going to find the pair and is going to keep it as well. But we'll have to see exactly where this ends up, and not a great draw for Martin here.
Yeah,
probably still take it, probably discard the 2-cell.
Yeah, I agree. Because at the end of the day,
No.
even just getting 1,000 points is still going to be 10 points overall, so...
Yeah, absolutely.
It's worth thinking about for Martin, I think, but I like the dream. I would love to see it happen.
Yeah, and the other side too is this does force the Ipeco instead. So it is still some amount of value, at least, even if you're not getting the Suanko with it. No help here, unfortunately.
Okay,
Tramy's still in a decent spot overall here. Has the option to discard like the 6-mon here, keep a safe tile back, and angle towards like a Pin Funomi hand, which I actually really like here. I'd probably go ahead and drop the 6-mon while it's safe. Opts for the 1-mon instead, though.
So I have added an extra minute to the timer, in case you were wondering, for the disruption earlier. So that is currently ticking down. We're in the last minute of the game. Obviously, we will be finishing this hand and playing one more, but if this hand ends in the next 38 seconds, maybe we get 2 more.
Yeah, just sumo, right? Easy.
Well, I do believe Zhiyu is still 1 away. Still 2 away, in fact. Oh, no.
Yeah, and
But
round
Dora 2
10,
now.
unfortunately, 6 shape there. Yeah, Conor, thinking this draw through here. It's really difficult to read through some of these shapes sometimes, but I think the 1-2 mon is what we want to discard here. There's just too much overlap with the tiles drawn and tiles and discards and everything already. We have a better chance of drawing the 4-so or making some shape out of that as opposed to the 1-2. But it's going to opt to keep the 1-2 instead.
I already added the minute. So we've added a second minute onto the clock.
Yeah, so officially this is time up, I believe.
Yes.
Admins can confirm. But yeah, so that means that, Tramy is actually going to go ahead and Riichi this hand here real quick. So this is waiting on 6-9 mon.
Okay, thank you. So this hand will be the second to last one, unless Tramy wins and the game ends normally.
Yeah, and it seems pretty likely here. No one else is in Tempai yet. No one else is even really that close overall. So Tramy definitely far ahead in this hand right now.
Should I take another look at Tramy's hand? Does she have enough to get back into first place? Obviously with Riichi and Sumo and Uradora, anything is possible, but...
Yeah, she is within Mongun striking distance. So even on a Ron, getting Ura 2 would do it. But we'll have to see exactly how it all plays out. Here's the Epots. No Epots.
Not today.
Unfortunately, drawing the third one there.
So 6-9 is the weight. We do see one of the 6 of characters right here in Zhiyu's hand. The other one is in Conor's hand, so the Tanyao side is gone. How many 9 characters? We see 1 discarded by Conor. I think there's still some 9 mans left, right?
I believe so, yes.
So this could be ended with a happy little pinfu.
I take it back. There's still 1 more 6-mon, I believe.
I counted all the 6s. I think I count 2 9s. I could be wrong about that.
You're probably just better at counting this early in the morning than I am, so I will trust your judgment here.
Yeah, doing subtractions and additions that I can't do, but counting to 4 I can do that.
All right, so Martin is going to be shutting down the hand here, so trying to play as safely as possible.
Yeah, exactly. Mine's got I think the toughest situation here, because obviously an ideal situation would be someone else dealing and you getting a position, but when you are in last, it's kind of on you to make some kind of points at the very last moment. Obviously, Zhiyu's going to be doing their best to make sure they keep Tempai, because if Martin's
This is bad. That's the deal-in that we were talking about here. So Zhiyu is going to deal in, and that will put him into 4th place, pushing Martin up to 3rd. So Martin probably in just a little bit of a sigh of relief seeing that, a little bit of extra points. And Tramy will get the Riichi, Pinfu, any Ura, no
Not
Ura.
today.
So this will be a 2,000 point hand.
So not enough to overtake, but certainly enough to confirm that second place.
Yeah, and I think confirming second is all she was really needing here anyway. Like, honestly, in her position, you could just Damad as well. But I think with the Tanyao chances and everything, that's why she went for the Riichi, because that could be the overtake on a 6-mon win. So Tramy is going to take second here. Conor first with the match, but Tramy still far in first overall in the last match here. So we're going to be going in, I believe, to a very short break, most likely, or they might just go directly into the next game. I'm not exactly sure which here.
Okay. So by my counts, we do have first place here with Conor with 47,000 points. In second place, Tramy with 41,800. In third place, Martin, managing to stay alive, stay safe, not dealing on the last hand, 16,300 points. And lastly, in last, Zhiyu with 14,900 points.
Yeah, so a little bit of rough shape. Martin and Conor kind of bumping elbows, and really it's down to placement for this last match. Who's going to take, well, most likely second, realistically. But they're both a little bit more than 100,000 down from Tramy. So they need one absolute run in this last round in order to be able to catch up to that.
Yeah, we're going to need a miracle, or perhaps a series of miracles, for anyone to overtake Tramy at this point. But it could always happen. It could always happen. Either way, the Tramy's definitely earned their win so far. And it looks like they are having a little chat about whether they want to get straight to that final game or have a little short break. I believe so. Please tell me if I'm wrong. I would more than happy to be told if I've made a mistake, but I think we should be right.
Yeah, so absolutely one fantastic run from Tramy here. I was a little bit worried earlier because she seemed really, really flustered after a rough chombo. But she is not just completely taking it in stride at this point, just absorbing the chombo and still very, very far ahead. So if you're adding up those points, that's why they probably don't add quite to what they should. But just the one chombo ends up taking 20,000 off your total score, which is, roughly 2.5 placements in the game end, but still doesn't prevent you from winning the tournament, to say the least.
Yeah, honestly, I missed that first game. I need to see what happened, because it sounds like it was an amazing thing to keep tuned with. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to have to be watching that when I get the time.
Yeah, so players are taking a short 5-minute break, so unfortunately you're stuck just listening to us talk, but I guess that's why you're here anyway. So we're just getting everything updated here, getting all the seat positions in. It will be Zhiyu starting as the east here, and Conor pulling up the north. So north position is always interesting with this kind of thing. It's a double-edged sword because it is, the last dealership. You have the last say in everything before the game ends, if you make it there. And that's the big thing with tournaments. You're not guaranteed that second deal. So in a position like Conor's, where you need a lot of points to catch up, it might not be the most beneficial as opposed to being in first, like Zhiyu is, because that gives you so much more time, almost a guaranteed second dealership, in order to get the chance to catch up with that.
That is certainly one way to put it. She gave everyone a head start and then just overtook them. That's a mean way of putting it, but also kind of funny.
Yeah, more of a catch-up. I think it was actually game 2 that it happened in, after she completely obliterated game 1. But, either way, trying to help other players out, but unfortunately they're just not accepting the help as much as they could be. Yep, so we will be moving into the last round here, though, and that's where things tend to change a lot. If you ever watch, pro leagues and that sort of thing, where they're all last game, only first matters, that sort of thing, it really creates some bizarre play patterns. Sometimes you'll see the person who's in first just keep winning hand after hand after hand, because all the other players are trying to hit their Yakuman to catch up. There's actually a rule for the top level of Mahjong in Japan, where if you take a win at the end of the game that doesn't change placement, doesn't put you where you need to be in the tournament in first place, then you can actually get sanctioned for that. So there's some other nuance with it and everything, you pretty much just need a chance to be able to catch up, not a surefire thing. But if you're completely out of it and you start winning hands, you can actually get fined or booted out or any sort of thing as far as the leagues go. So they're very, very strict about it at the highest level. Now,
Yes,
luckily, I don't
exactly
think
so.
these players are going to be fined or anything. I don't think the Irish Mahjong Federation is really that strict about it just yet. But I'm sure by next year they will be.
Honestly, if there was a pro org, it'd be really interesting. I know we've had the World Riichi pro org like starting to pop up and having some actual pros outside of Japan. Can we have like some Irish pros? Is that can we do that? Are we allowed to do that?
Absolutely.
Can we set that up?
We can have pros anywhere we want to.
Like an official club that has like a
Yeah, I actually had the option to host a minor tournament for that league, but unfortunately, with the time frame, we weren't able to get it together. So at some
Yes.
point, it might be something I look at to see if I can make myself a pro as well. But I think I have some studying to do before I actually try to take that test.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there is. I think the World Reach League Minor is happening now as we speak. I believe something that
That
I
is
found out
very possible.
a few days ago when Dave's like, "Hey, can I get some cover dates for New York?" I'm like, "No, I'm here. I'm sorry, Dave."
Yeah, true. That's in Sparrow's Nest in New York right now, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was easier for them to host it in New York as opposed to our location because this is about the time it would have been.
Dave, you should reach out. Would love to be able to get some comment on your club's meetups. That'd be great.
Yeah, we'll see. We don't even have a full streaming setup for a full table like this yet. So even though I'm a streamer, cameras are one thing I don't have, a kind of plethora of cameras to be able to get this kind of setup going.
I think that's very fair. Like I do streaming stuff, but I have a very bad webcam that I use for a VTuber avatar. That's it. That's all I have.
Hey, that's all you need, honestly. Like, if you've got the skins and everything, you've already invested way more than you need to than a camera.
But yeah, honestly though, I like the fact that you said "yet" in that sentence. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, gonna leave room for the future here.
But
Oh,
yeah, I do
actually, so
apologize
this is
if I've
important to
been like
know.
kind of a little bit less active than I usually am in commentary. It's because I was like spending a lot of time just trying to wrestle with the system. I'm getting better at it though. We only had the one mistake. I think it's going pretty well so far. But yeah, I do apologize if I miss the start of each hand as I'm updating scores and things like that. It's something new for me. It's been fun to get involved though. Having all this tech in the background, it's been really fun to
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
use. I have like the control of the stream. Like I could say I'm not going to change things. That'd be very, very irresponsible of me. But yeah.
Yeah. I know one thing that's always kind of interesting that I've seen is it kind of depends how you want to set it up. Like with this view that we see right here, this is what's most common with Japanese Pro League, right? You see the player's hand, but you can't necessarily see all the discards at once. One thing they've
Yes.
experimented with a little bit in streaming in America is actually having everyone's hand on screen in each corner. So you can see the entire hand and then an overhead view of all the discards as well. So it's kind of a different take on everything. It makes things a little bit smaller on the screen if you're trying to watch on mobile, but it does give you all the information you need to really follow along in the game as well. So lots of different styles, lots of different things, and I'm kind of excited to see how it evolves, honestly.
Yeah, honestly, if we compare the setup from today to last year, I believe last year we had two cameras, and they each had two players' hands, if I remember correctly. So just seeing the upgrade from the Irish Riichi Championship between this year and last year, it's been really fun. Really cool to see. Really, really fun. Last year was four cameras. Okay, am I missing? Am I missing? Am I mixing my events? The virtual quality was lower. Okay.
Yeah, so word from them, if anyone's interested in doing this kind of thing with their tournament here, what they're doing right now is actually just using smartphones. So smartphones have been advanced so far at this point. Like if you've ever watched my streams, it was with the smartphone, and it's not perfect by any means. There's always some blurriness and everything to deal with. But if players are willing to give up theirs for a little while, that's four free cameras right there. So it is something to keep in mind if you do want to get this going. That might be an easier on the budget way to kind of try that and see if you like it.
Yeah, I currently don't have a phone because my phone the phone I was using was 3G and that no longer has support. So I've ordered a new phone literally yesterday, but currently don't have a phone
Yeah.
because unfortunately I don't have the ability to use the old one. I liked it. It was nice. It was compact. It was small. It wasn't a smartphone. I'm not I'm not investing that heavily in
Yeah.
it, but
No, to
definitely.
say the least, over in America here, we love our smartphones for some reason. So everyone always has, like, within the last couple generations, not everyone, but a lot of people do. And if you're doing this kind of event where there's a couple staff members and everything, usually you could scrape together for, honestly, probably latest generation phones.
That's very fair. I think we have one person behind the scenes doing the camera work, so definitely shout outs to them. Not only doing the camera scenes, but also sending us messages in secret. It's been very good. Honestly, that's a lot of work to do for one person. So definitely shout outs to Simon. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for putting this on, Simon. So Simon has been the basically mastermind behind all of the Irish Mahjong operations since I went to their first big open 2 years ago, and he's been doing a fantastic job. And tournament has just been growing since then. So it's always great to see newer groups just cropping up everywhere. And so finally, Ireland does have their own organized group like this that's really starting to put on a lot of tournaments and really put themselves out there.